Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to another Copy That Whetstone Wednesday. The only Whetstone that is also a Wednesday. The only copywriting show on the entire YouTube ecosphere that happens to feature me and three of my business partners. I hope you are all doing exceedingly well, and I hope you are all having a wonderful Wednesday. Even if you're watching this on the replay on like a Thursday or Friday, I hope you're having a good Wednesday then too, but on like a Saturday. So, oh, I'm doing exceptionally well. This is going to be a quick Whetstone Wednesday because I'm going to go see Tool in concert with my wife not long from now. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I hope everybody else is doing very well. So, hello. So I want to sort of jump around rather than go in order from the people that submitted first, because we have the sort of standard coterie of people that have basically submitted product pages for the Copy That Show website. We are offering $150 to people who write copy for us, and then we assess the copy, and then if we publish it, then we'll pay people $150. That's available on copythatshow.com. But like we've done like 20 of these Whetstone Wednesdays so far, and like we've analyzed a lot of product pages for that. And so I want to start this one with a not product description, look at a few other things, especially a landing page, because a lot of people have been asking me about how to write good landing pages recently, and I want to talk about that. And hopefully Lindsey will join me in a little bit. Yeah, exactly. I do wonder if the band Tool name themselves that so that they could have band t-shirts that have Tool written across the front, so that when they are performing, they look out into the audience and they just see a bunch of people that have labeled themselves Tool. It is kind of funny. I am doing well. I hope you are doing well as well. So let's start with boop boop. Okay. I'm going to start here. I reach the end, I'm going to stop. We got the analyzing copy. We got this. Okay. So eggheadecom.com. No context provided. How do I submit my copy for critique? Do I submit via Patreon or in the Copy That Discord? You submit it via the Discord. If you have attached your Discord account to your Patreon account, which you can find out how to do that easily by Googling or using patreon.com support pages, then you get access to a whole bunch of other exclusive content and bonus channels and yada yada yada. I'm doing a self promotion now. With the link and the stuff and the join the Patreon and things like that. Then you can become a Patreon member who does the stuff. Okay. So let's look at this. Eggheadecom.com. Shopify store is making $5,000 plus per month. Stop flushing money on traffic. Turn scrollers into loyal customers without any additional ad spend. So the implication is that there is going to be some ad spend. Does it feel like you are flushing all your profits on traffic? Ad spend can be very expensive. The easiest way to unclog your pipeline isn't more ads. Just let Egghead Ecom develop your unique feel strategy. And whoever wrote this is guilty of the only grammatical and orthographic sin that still really rankles my jimmies, which is not putting a period at the end of an abbreviation, even though there should be one. Because when you truly connect with your audience, instead of 1 out of 100 visitors buying, 5 out of 100 do. You just 5x'd your sales without spending a dime on new ads. Yes, get my free store audit. And then I'm clicking, and this is supposed to take me to a form, but it's not working. So, okay. How do I feel about this headline complex? Shopify store is making $5,000 per month. Stop flushing money on traffic. It's fine. It's actually not that bad. It's not terrible. I feel like this goes on a little bit too long, and is trying to do a few too many things. It's falling to that classic, not really a sin, but I guess that holds copy back, especially headline copy, where it tries to do too many things because it's afraid if it omits one detail, it won't be strong enough. So it's asking that sort of like standard pattern interrupt question. Do you feel like you're flushing all your profits on traffic? A pun actually is a sin, but we're going to forgive it this time. The easiest way to unclog your pipeline, more puns, isn't more ads. Here's the thing with puns. The reason why, I was working for a financial publishing firm, and the publisher, saw a subject line that had a pun in it. And she put out a memo to the entire company that says, if I see another piece of copy with a pun in it again, that person is getting fired, as well as anybody who helped get that thing out into the world. Why is that? Well, aside from the fact that puns are kind of obnoxious, unless you're a dad like me, puns just draw attention to themselves. I think it was Claude Hopkins who said that the reason why we want to avoid overutilizing rhetoric in our copy is because we want the copy to almost be transparent. Like, we don't want the copy to draw attention to itself so that you go, oh, ho, ho, how clever. Look at how clever the wordplay is here. No, we want people to read the words and feel the things that we are saying so that they're in a state of mind to buy. They're not in a state of mind to buy if they're going, oh, ho, you use the term flushing next to a toilet. How brilliant. That's just it's egotistical is what it is, to assume that people are going to like laud you and praise you because of how clever your copy is. The only people who do that are brand copywriters. Oh, snap. Shots fired. Um The easiest way to unclog your pipeline is more ads. Just let Egghead Ecom develop. So here there are three things that are going on here. Does it feel like you're flushing all your profits on traffic? So we're identifying the problem. That could maybe go better down in the headline, or below the headline complex. We have a unique strategy. All right. And then we have this dimensionalized benefit. So what do I mean by dimensional? This is the benefit. You can get, your conversion rate from 1% to 5%. If you do that, then that 5x is your sales. So the dimensionalization is right here, 5x in your sales without spending a dime on new ads. So what I'm going to guess is that this is trying to intrigue people who own Shopify stores to read more without revealing the fact that all this is talking about is conversion rate optimization, which is good. That's good. You want to build intrigue for the audience no matter what, because otherwise they won't read your shit. And ultimately what you're selling here, I presume, is conversion rate optimization, which is people will be spending the same amount of money on ads, but where people are going from those ads is to a page that just converts a little bit better, which means that the same ad spend tends to lead to more sales. So really quick. Yeah. So what I'm talking around is that this can be trimmed down a bit. You want to be succinct. You want to be punchy. You want to get the same amount of attention and intrigue in this small amount of space. You don't need to reveal the strategy here in the headline. You just don't. And you can reveal that there's a system later on. It doesn't need to be in the headline. If if the system is the best hook that you found so far, yeah, sure, mention the system in the headline, but you don't need to actually reveal the mechanism, the system in the headline. And your copy will feel more confident if you have, this benefit, this promise right here up in the headline, plus the benefit down here, articulated a little bit more simply. So this plus this, I think, is going to be a stronger headline complex, in my opinion. Ultimately, what we're talking about, though, is that this copy is already here in the headline complex, like B minus B copy. It's passing. Like, I can see this working for some people, but if it's going to become an A, you have to test a few different things. So I like the without additional ad spend because it makes a very clear promise. that feels enticing but isn't scammy. Like I can see already like why this would be alluring to the right audience. The copy Chad, help me. How much does it take to work in house? If you donate during the streams, I will answer unrelated questions. Yeah, the pun stops them in the reading and pulls them out of the copy, and you don't exactly want this. Whose copy is this? This is, I believe, a Mr. Warren West's. A Mr. Majama is his username on the Discord. So pun doesn't count as unique in the for use. Absolutely not. A pun counts as A for annoying and A obnoxious. Yeah, so puns, like, they can work in some cases where you are trying to draw attention to the writing itself. But how often do you want to draw attention to the writing itself? You know, I don't know. Should the copy let the prospect know what feel stands for? I mean, yeah, but you have to keep in mind that for landing pages or for long copy, if you're building a system, the acronym, the abbreviation, feel strategy is designed to build intrigue. If you tell people what the acronym stands for immediately, you lose all the power of the intrigue. They no longer have a reason to keep reading. That's why I say it doesn't really matter if you reveal the system up here. You can do it down below and sort of strategically decide where it would best go. But I've read promos that are 100 pages long where they don't actually reveal what the system, the unique mechanism is until page like 30 to 60. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm assuming they tried to go with the introducing mechanism for the reader to know they're getting something. Yeah, that's exactly. Everything I'm saying, I'm talking around stuff that Kyle talks about too, which is like if you're introducing a system, you're trying to build intrigue for different things, and then the system just happens to be what allows people to tap into the thing that they want or the thing that's going on in general. I believe Kyle calls it the force of nature, and then the unique mechanism is the tool that allows you to like scrape money out of that force of nature. I don't use his terminology. Nobody else does. He uses it because it helps him sort of like organize and articulate his thoughts and ideas in a particular fashion. Whereas I'm just kind of all over the place. I just do things by feel. Get started with your free feel conversion audit. This might actually be a decent place to introduce it. Again, that's just the biggest pet peeve that I have. Like I'll forgive grammatical errors, I'll forgive like bad punctuation and stuff like that. But F stands for something, E stands for something, E stands for something, but L doesn't. So therefore there's no period. Ugh, bothersome. A feel conversion audit is simple, jumping straight to the point. We take a look at your current Shopify store and email flows and identify areas that can be improved. So just for context and just for shared terminology so that you understand what's going on here. This is a headline complex. This is eyebrow copy, this is the headline, and this is deck copy, and this is the first CTA. You want to include a good CTA if you are driving traffic to this page that is already pretty warm, that already kind of knows what they want. This just gives people the opportunity to sort of skip like everything else if they already understand and know that they want the thing. Not every product and not every service is good for that. It actually reduces sales that we found for like financial newsletters. Coaching is a pretty big one. Certain coaches, by the way, not every coach, but we found it works really, really well for like book promos or like reports, or if you're selling somebody a spreadsheet, small price stuff that people want already. It's good to include a CTA like right below your headline complex. Yeah, and that's one of those things too where because this is effectively selling Shopify owners on a conversion rate optimization audit, you're going to have to test stuff. You're going to have to do conversion rate optimization for your own page. And the only way to do that is to A/B split test it. Like I cannot tell you with the knowledge that I have whether or not this button is going to lead to more calls or not. It's just something that you're going to have to test and iterate over time. Real marketing stuff. So get started with your free field conversion audit. A field conversion audit is simple. We take a look at your current Shopify store and email flows to identify areas that can be improved. Then we give you a detailed breakdown of how to increase conversions using the field strategy. The field strategy works by identifying the emotional link between your products and your customers. It's about crafting messaging that touches hearts and opens wallets. Focus, emotion, engagement, leverage. That's it. No catch, no high pressure sales pitch. Take the information from the audit and test it. This is confusing to me and feels like it's jumping around a little bit. So now that I've explained what this is doing, this is supposed to be your lead. And the purpose of a lead is to simply answer the objection, what's in it for me, the person reading, and what to expect from the rest of a landing page. Now, it very quickly sells this. This is fine. A field audit conversion is simple. We take a look at your current Shopify store and email flows and identify areas that can be improved. That's fine. This all feels very abrupt. Doesn't really make sense. I also question whether or not we should just jump right into this and not with some pattern interrupt or some attention being paid to what people are going through in terms of problems, or like your standard copy template is going to be, are you tired of people like clicking onto your store and adding things to cart but never coming back? Are you tired of people hitting your landing page, costing you a lot of money in terms of ad spend, but then never buying anything? You want to sort of like touch on either pain points or the things that the actual customer wants early on, before you jump to this feels like a jump to an offer and then a jump to a mechanism. Like I said before, it feels sort of all over the place. I feel like bullets would be better for the second part. Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, it feels like, again, this section is trying to do too much. But because it's trying to do too much, it's not giving any one of those individual things enough space. I just don't really see what you're trying to do here. But this is another thing that you have to test. How the field audit works. Step 1, fill out the form. Step 2, analysis. Step 3, get your report. You'll get a Google Doc breakdown. So this is just straight up like offer. And I can understand what this is trying to do. This is trying to get Shopify owners who are already kind of warm, who are already want something like this, to basically sign up and get this person to give them a free audit. And is it? Let me see. Is it a free? Yeah, it is a free field conversion audit. Now, Warren, because you wrote this, a good way to get easy content for YouTube or a podcast would be to actually do these field audits live. That way you're able to use your byproducts. You're able to actually monetize these audits and then provide them to the customer for free, potentially getting you a client. So that's a good way to have your cake and eat it too, if that's your actual intention. When it comes to this, I don't know. It feels too soon. I kind of want to know what's in it for me. I kind of want to know like proof. I kind of want to like see some indication that there's cred here, like early on. I want to see what the outcome is before we jump right into this stuff. Like, I don't want to understand the mechanism before I understand what it can do for me. That seems pretty basic. So, yeah. That's kind of what I'm feeling about this right now. Like, it feels like you're assuming that this is the thing people want, and people don't want this. People want results. Businesses want results, and so in order to like communicate that they need to do this, you need to before that communicate that you can deliver those results and outcomes. Especially if you are going to be using a promise headline. This is effectively an implicit promise. So that's something that I would keep in mind there. And then this is cred section. Who's behind Egghead Ecom? Hey there, I'm Warren West, the big brain behind Egghead Ecom and your go-to guy for increasing your Shopify sales. Before I became the secret weapon for seven-figure ecom business brands, I was crafting winning ads for big names like Snapchat, American Express, and AppSumo. And way before all that, I was just a kid getting bullied for being a nerd. Yep, I was the smart, sarcastic, skinny dweeb with glasses and, you guessed it, a big head. It turns out no one likes a know-it-all, so I got bullied a lot, from my older brothers to classmates to neighborhood kids. They beat me up, they gave me wedgies. I cringed every time I heard, "Hey, Egghead." So this is a gamble. I'll explain what I mean. Everything that you're seeing here is very I focused. I was just a kid. I was the smart. I got bullied a lot. I cringed. None of it is you focused. None of it is, and none of it is like, I proved to, several e-commerce clients that I was able to turn them into like, multimillionaires overnight or whatever. Yeah. I like the no one likes a know-it-all line. It's good. It's absolutely good, but it's one of those things where it's like, this is several lines of copy that's entirely focused on, you know, a transformation story, when a transformation story is not what people are looking for. If your transformation story involves like you turning around your e-com store and making it from like $0 to multi-millions, an e-com store owner is going to be interested in that because it's implicitly about them and what they desire. So, like I said, this is totally hold on. It would make me feel like you weren't going to be a problem hire. Yeah, there's a lot of implicit like subtext here. That's why I say that it's a gamble, which is you can turn off a lot of people with copy like this, especially people that are self-interested. And by making a promise headline, you are intentionally appealing to people that are self-interested. So there's a trade-off here. It's something that you're going to want to test. But yeah, I don't know if this is landing for me. Well, again, it's the writing is decent, but is it decent for this purpose? I'm not sure. Hey, Egghead, is he targeting you, Sean? So rude. Ugh, a bald joke. Damn it. All right. Hey, Egghead. And then total sales up 1,000%. Now I'm the one laughing because Shopify stores all over the world are taking advantage of my big brain and turning their struggle into serious money. Turning their struggles into serious money? This clause is a little confusing to me. And now you can too. Most Shopify stores don't struggle because of their product, they struggle because of their messaging. Good lines. Those are good lines. Those feel beneficial. You'd be amazed at what happens to your sales when you nail your messaging. So if you're ready to break free from the endless cycle of ad spend and creative fatigue, let's chat. Put that on its own line. So if you're ready to break free from the endless cycle of ad spend and creative fatigue, ... let's chat. Period. Paragraph. It's time to leverage your store's potential with strategies that actually work. Welcome to Egghead Ecom, where being an egghead means being smarter about Shopify. That copy sucks. Fix that. Yeah. So this landing page, again, like you're hovering between like a C and a B. But here's the thing. You're selling conversion rate optimization. So you already know that the best way to fix this page is to test it and then test it against another alternative and see what happens. Now, just to prioritize, test this first. If you have the ability to get a heat map onto this, that will allow you to see how many people are scrolling on one page versus another. It'll also allow you to see like how many people are clicking this versus a B test. But test making this better first, and test something radically different, like a totally different angle, totally different messaging, totally different angle of approach. Once you have a headline that's working reasonably well. Then fix this section, because this section feels like a mess. But ultimately, it's not going to drive more results. How should I say? Like this has the potential to double or triple your response. This has the potential to increase your response between 20 and 100%. And then the further down we go, the fewer like boosts that you're going to see. It is possible that fixing this could confer like a 10 to 20% boost, but I don't know. So those are all things to keep in mind. How can it work if our guru Sean already said it sucks? A total dilemma. Because here's the thing. It is selling conversion rate optimization services, specifically a marketing service. Conversion rate optimization has to involve one, improving copy in some way, and then two, iterative testing. And the thing with this is it is prime. It is just absolutely ripe for iterative testing. There are so many different things that you can test. I gave you some ideas along the way of what you can test and why you should want to test it. But ultimately, yeah, some of the copy is good. Most of it, I think, needs to be improved. But at the same time, like, focus on the things that are really important, which is testing your headlines first. There is no greater guru than the marketplace. Absolutely. The most I ever learned. Listen, I had some of the best mentors on the planet. I learned the most about copywriting from writing copy every day, putting it out into the world, and seeing how people actually responded to it. Nothing taught me about copy more than that. So those are my thoughts on that particular page. And Warren, if you are in the chat, ask questions if you would like. But I'm going to use this opportunity to jump back into the regularly scheduled program. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on landing pages. Actually, I have a few more thoughts on landing pages. Show more proof. Like, show a proliferation of proof. That is my advice to you. Right now, you are only showing one piece of proof. And that's just not enough for me. So, okay, you did it once. But here's the thing. Something like I wrote copy for AppSumo, Snapchat, and American Express, that's also implicit proof. I want more of that. More things that I can sink my teeth into. More things that show me that you can deliver what the product is promising. That is what you're selling, which is a free conversion rate audit. Audit, or whatever it is that it is. Conversion audit. There it is. So yeah. So let's jump right back into this. So this is a product page for one of the courses, not courses, but masterclasses that Copy That is selling on our website. Oh, on a serious note, I remember Kyle says something like, this business is unpredictable, even when writing copy following a control template. You never know what will work, and your line completes. Yeah. You can only confirm after testing it. Absolutely true. That is one of the humbling things about copy and marketing, and a lot of newbies hate hearing that, because you have to understand that there's a certain threshold at which point your copy becomes what I would call publishable. Like, people in aggregate are willing to actually send your copy out there into the world to test it. Up until that point, you're just kind of like trying to figure out what the hell you're doing. But beyond the point of publishability, there's this huge gap of quality where you're going to see messaging that's publishable, like that checks all the boxes and is good, but doesn't do any sales or has terrible numbers. And then there's going to be copy that, like, maybe is only borderline publishable, but hits the right note at the right time with the right people and absolutely crushes it and sells hundreds of thousands of dollars of, I don't know, butt soap or whatever that it is you're selling. Ultimately, like, beyond a certain point, the only way to know things is to test them. So, hey guys, want to bring the copy to life in wireframe for you. Okay, so this is the Finding the Constellations masterclass on studying copy. So, very standard Product page, this is the fancy name followed by the actually what it is title template, which I particularly appreciate. We have some captivating images. Looks AI generated, totally fine. Imagine being able to take ideas that other people used, adapt them to what you're working on, throw a different spin on it that applies to your industry, and get massive results from the copy you wrote. That's exactly what you'll get when you hone the art of finding the constellations. Wouldn't it be you would put quotes around finding the constellations rather than just constellations? But that's neither here nor there. And great copy. Join Rod Satterwhite as he shows you how to dissect copy and harvest revolutionary ideas using his practical 3-step framework. Harvest revolutionary ideas. Sometimes copy feels a little bit too reliant on adjectives like this. You know what I mean? Where it feels like it would be more succinct if it was just how to dissect copy and harvest ideas using this 3-step framework. All this copy is okay, especially for the purpose that it's currently serving. I don't like that it's using full stops. Like, I feel like bullets or like a bulleted list would be better here, but I don't hate it. But now I want to sort of ask you, copywriters who are watching this, what do you think is better? Presenting this list, which feels a little mealy, like it felt like it was getting a little tedious as I was going through the list. But compare that to something very simple. Imagine being able to make money from other people's ideas and still seem original. Sound crazy? Well, that's exactly what you'll get when you hone the art of finding the constellations in your great copy. Here's what I did. Instead of doing the step by step, which you can, of course, explain later on in the copy, I went straight to a very punchy, very, like, in my opinion, poignant thing that people are actually seeking for. Again, the outcome. Imagine being able to make money from other people's ideas, but still seem original. Benefit without the potential pain point. So for me feels like it could be punched up, and I would recommend actually like thinking about how to articulate it in a similar way that I did. Again, you have the page space to do all the other stuff, but up here you're making the promise. And as long as we can fulfill the promise, which we can, then you should be Gucci. So after that threshold is crossed, how many variables you see that can be controlled? You see that there are many, many factors, but there must be some which contributes the most. Yeah. So here are the factors. And listen, you'll talk to famous marketers, and they'll say that there are like only a handful of factors, 4 or 5, that sort of dictate how good a promo or campaign can do. Offer, copy, list, and what was the fourth one? I think it's marketing. Yeah, offer, copy, list, and marketing. And so what is marketing? It's just like getting the right message in front of the right people at the right time. What is the list? The list is the actual number of people that have raised their hand and said, "Yes, I want to hear more from you." What is the offer? The offer is what you're actually selling, and what is the copy? The copy is the actual messaging around the thing that you're selling. Now, here's the thing. I've seen businesses do millions of dollars in sales really nailing one of those 4 things. I've seen businesses with great offers, but just terrible marketing and terrible copy, but they have a great offer. And in fact, I think Alex Hormozy has built his entire YouTube content presence around that. But I've also seen like other businesses that excel in one of those 4 things. And each of those 4 things are things that you can control. Copy, again, it's just the messaging. You can test different messaging. You can absolutely, like, if something bombs, you can write a re-lead or you can try a different angle. Or if you're working for a client that just doesn't want to try anything else, then you try it something else with the next client. Different angle of approach. With marketing, you know, are you going to test like Facebook ads? Are you going to test, Google ads? Are you going to test certain CPAs? Are you going to try to raise the CPA in certain contexts or lower it? There's a lot of, and marketing also involves the funnel. Like, for example, you can have bad copy, a bad offer, and going to a bad list, but because your upsells and downsells and cross sells are so good, you still make money off of the very few people that buy. So again, there's a lot of different things that you can control that can crack this. How do I make a lot of money from copywriting and marketing work? So those four things are the main things that you can control. That's it. Those are the variables. Using Imagine is fine. It's totally fine. People use it all the time. I feel like the original advises plagiarism. And it feels like a reveal. What I was talking around was that, like, it sort of eliminates the intrigue of, like, what the masterclass is selling. Like, it spells out what the process is. So I would say just, again, reveal the process later or not at all, and just mention the outcome so long as the outcome is a promise or implied promise that's believable. Yeah, keep it simple. I disagree. A lot of people say this, and I completely disagree with it. 100%. I have absolutely seen amazing copy with a shitty offer for a shitty business sell really, really well. And if you want proof, look at the promo, How to Legally Rob Banks with Mr. X. That is a promo that came out in 2008, 2009. A lot of people were struggling. And my God, was that some of the most emotional, like, tug at your heartstrings, like, saying all the buzzwords at the time to get people to buy a thing that it was just terrible. It was a terrible and expensive offer. It was an awful offer, but it sold $50 million. So yeah, this is one of those things where it's like a lot of marketers and copywriters say it, but I I've just seen the proof. I've seen the actual evidence that it isn't true. So I just don't believe it for that reason. So presenter, Rod, time, yes. Patreon, cancel anytime. Wonderful. Okay, headline. So what is a scam in the context of our business? A scam is a discrepancy between what is promised and what you get. So, say, for example, I sell you a pill that's going to cause your erections to go to 16 feet long, but they only take you to 1 foot at the most. That's a scam because you're missing 15 feet of erection. So, what you're looking for in copy is to really walk that tightrope where what you promise and what you deliver technically and thoroughly fulfills that promise. Um, that's just finding the right words to make sure that you are never over promising and under delivering. That's what creates a scam. And obviously, if you don't fulfill the thing that you're promising, that's a scam as well. Evaldo's promo? No, Evaldo, I don't think was writing copy back in 2008, 2009. No, no, no. That was not Jay Abraham's idea. That was another dude who basically he wrote that promo and he disappeared because that promo basically destroyed a business. So many refunds. Ah. So lying in copy is a no-no? I can't believe I have to say it. That is correct. I worked very briefly for a publisher, copywriter, and editorial director by the name of Brian Hunt. If you ever have a chance to listen to this man, he's like one of those people who, like, he just quietly, like, he runs a few businesses, he's had amazing success, but he doesn't have a very public presence, and he certainly doesn't have a social media presence. He just quietly, writes good copy, publishes good copy, and makes millions of dollars. the way that this is supposed to work. Unlike me, who dicks around on stream. He once said to me, never write copy that isn't true. Don't say it if it's not true. And one of the things that would happen was whenever he would say that was people would say like, "Oh, like, well, but then we have to change all these different things." And he would say, "Then change it. Just change the copy. Change the wording so that what you're saying is true." That can be as difficult as like changing whole sections, changing promises, changing ideas, or it could be as simple as like adding a virtually. You know, this thing is virtually guaranteed to add 15 feet to your erections. There you go. It's virtually guaranteed. And then you would explain what that means in the actual copy below that. It's about hedging things so that, again, we're going for technical truth here. I don't, again, stretching the truth is, I think, a complicated ethical thing. I would advise against it because ultimately, what happens if you stretch the truth? People buy the thing and then they're disappointed, then they ask for a refund, then you don't get the fat, nasty money. And so, what you want to do is you want to tell the truth that shows that's ultimately an enthusiastic truth. Like, you never want to present something as being not what it is. I did. I did. He actually was looking at Agora promos, and he put out a call in one of his videos that was like any publisher, like or copywriter at Agora who like wants to come forward and like talk, like reach out to me. And I actually reached out to him. I was like, listen, like because he was getting a few facts about the business wrong, like fundamental things. And I wanted to be like, listen, like you're right about these things and you're wrong about these things. But he never got back to me. But then again, I'm just some schmo on the internet. Like who knows me? Nobody knows me. I'm not famous. I'm not important. So, oh wait, I'm not supposed to say that. I'm supposed to like do this for clout. Damn. Analyzing copy is the fastest way to become a better copywriter. All right, let's run that through the 4U's test. Is it unique? Eh. I like that you're focusing on fastest. That is, if we're sticking with Nesby and like, actual benefit driving things, you're doing a good job there. Doesn't feel very unique. Is it useful? Well, do people desire to become a better copywriter? I don't know if they do. And here's what I mean. All of you watching right now, do you wake up in the morning and go, "Oh man, I wish I were a better copywriter"? Or do you go, "Oh man, I wish clients would pay me more"? That's the difference that we're talking about. So you want to be able to articulate this benefit as being more closely aligned with what people actually want. Yeah. Stefan Georgi has had run into many ethical issues with copy like that before, selling snake oil, basically. I would advise all of you, if you can avoid it, don't sell snake oil. But there are fine lines and different things that you can legally say. So, like, for example, there are certain scholarly articles that have proven that certain diets and certain foods and certain supplements actually do have an effect on cancer. And it's interesting because, like, every cancer drug that you find, we're always operating in percentages. Like, even chemotherapy does not have a 100% success rate. And so we're just talking about thresholds. Like, at what point can you say something is a cure or not? At what point can you say something is a treatment replacement or not? At what point can you say like alternatives are useful for something or not others? And oftentimes the rules around different diseases are very capricious. What do I mean by that? The FTC actually regulates different diseases or looks at claims around different diseases differently. So, for example, you can talk about curing cancer using alternative methods, but you can't talk about curing diabetes using different methods. It's weird. Health copy is some of the regulatory world around health copy is super weird. And of course, it all depends on what you're actually offering as well. Like, for example, you can't, say you're offering a cure for cancer, and then the offer is like how to pray it away. That's not going to fly either. So it's a whole kit and caboodle. I would be here for 5 hours if I had to explain compliance rules around health copy. It's one of the reasons why I don't do it. A lot of really good publishers, what they'll do is they'll have like a brief or a one sheet of like, these are the claims that we can legally make. These are the claims that we can't. Here's all the scholarly articles I want you to reference. Go. And that's usually how it works, at least at the higher level. For smaller businesses, it will be like, all right, go figure out what you can say, what you can't. Good luck. And then you're on the hook if you say something bad. I'm a newbie, so I'm always thinking about becoming a better copywriter. No clients yet. So Cody, if you're watching this and looking for evidence, then yeah, maybe this is good enough. All I'm asking for you to do is think about like, okay, is this useful enough? Is it unique enough? Is it, we don't have to worry about urgent for these, but is it, ultra specific enough? Like analyzing copy, is that ultra specific enough for you? I would personally rank this headline around a C minus, maybe a C. So it's passing, but like barely so. In your heart of hearts. Yeah, we're talking about deep benefits now. What about medical equipment? Now that is a whole other kit and caboodle too. That's another highly tightly regulated industry as well. There's a whole bunch of compliance rules for that. But yeah, it really depends on the kind of equipment. Like for example, if you're a B2B salesman and what you're selling is like, for example, the Da Vinci robot, chances are you probably don't have to worry about certain things as opposed to others. Like you're obviously not advertising to consumers, you're advertising to hospitals and like hospital boards. People who want to be able to say, "Oh, their hospital has this machine in it." There you go. So, the benefits that you're trying to draw out for those are way different, and you're not going to be as likely to run into compliance issues if you're making promises around like the reasons why a hospital should get a Da Vinci robot as opposed to why a human person should use a Da Vinci robot, if that makes any sense. Good to know you don't have to lie or sell to make money and copy. A lot of people, yeah, I made it a mission early in my career not to write for any products that I knew did not work or which I would have to lie to sell. So, understanding why good copy works is the secret. No, that feels weak to me. Let's see. How many of the 4 U's do you need to make a good headline? I've seen copy that sells millions of dollars that does not hit any of the U's. I think in general for newbies, a good rule of thumb is you want to aim for at least 1, maybe 2 that are just like solidly dialed in. But the whole premise of the 4 U's is to give people what they're looking for when they're making a decision to actually read a thing. The whole purpose of a headline is to get people to read the rest. And so each of the 4 U's by itself provides a reason for people to read more stuff. So you really only need to give one reason to do that. That's what you want to keep in mind. Again, like copywriting is not a checklist. It's not a blueprint. It's not a template. These heuristics, like the 4 U's, they're just there to sort of like help you arrive at an end goal. How you get to the end goal doesn't matter. The 4 U's is one possible way to get there. All right. What? Thanks, I guess. I'm asking because there are local manufacturers of surgical items like scissors and blades, etc. I was thinking about selling them on my own. Whom will you be selling them to? That's my question. Like, are you going to be selling them to like local clinics? Are you going to be selling them to individuals with a sadomasochistic urge? Like, what are we talking about here? That's, there you go. Oh, all right, no more rambling. I got called out. But that can only be done when you know what to look for. Okay, so this is a continuation of this. I've seen that done before. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's fine. But so just to explain what I mean, this clause is a follow-up of this clause. Analyzing copy is a fast way to become a better copywriter, but that can only be done when you know what to look for. I would rather you start with a pattern interrupt here. Pattern interrupt could be a question that draws attention, a desire, like a really like something to grab people by the short and curlies. This right now is not grabbing me by the short and curlies. Once you become adept at reverse engineering, maybe to hospitals or surgical centers. Dude, what you want to do is you want to apply to be on the sales team of these businesses. That's going to involve calling people, but it can also involve actually writing copy. Like if you want to sell medical devices, get on the sales team of these businesses or sell yourself as a sales consultant or just a person who will actually do sales for these businesses. Like that's a good way to make money because you can actually ask for a commission off of the sales that you make. And ideally, what you would want to do is try to find clinics that have a high turnover, like a lot of people coming in and out. Because especially if you're selling disposables, well, you can get clients, actual businesses that pay the device company over and over and over again, which means that you get a regular check. Again, it depends on the deals you negotiate. So once you become adept at reverse engineering, okay, people are going to be immediately confused by that. You'll be able to identify and utilize the underlying patterns that make copy successful. And who better to learn this than from the idea guy himself? Rod has transcended the traditional path of writing copy to become the go-to person who gets paid for his ideas. That's funny. He actually is doing the traditional path. That's really funny. So he knows a lot about dissecting swipe files of copy to uncover advertising gold mines. I'm not sure what that sentence means. Now, he'll teach you to cultivate breakthrough insights by mastering his method for identifying key elements of effective copy. So, I want you, Cody, when you write stuff, to read your stuff out loud. Because I'm sure you can tell as I'm reading this stuff, I'm getting tripped up on some of your words, some of your syntax, things like that. Now, he will teach you to cultivate breakthrough insights by mastering his method for identifying key elements of effective copy. This sentence is guilty of something that I've talked about in stream, haven't talked about it recently, preposition stacking. To, by, for, of. 4 prepositional clauses in one sentence. So every time you add one of those, you create an additional layer of confusion. That's something you want to keep in mind as you're reading your stuff. That's one possible reason that your copy isn't flowing, that it doesn't feel clean, that it doesn't read well. It's something to watch out for. Plus, you'll get a sneak peek into his strategy for keeping a swipe file on hand. What swipe file? In the short yet powerful masterclass, you will gain insights on okay. So I want to see punch ups for this. I want to see a punch up for this. I feel like this could be made cleaner. None of what you're doing is wrong per se, but I feel like what you're doing is not really, you're not communicating the idea, which is what's in it for the person. That is like why a person would want to actually learn how to analyze copy very well. I don't feel like you're doing as good of a job as you possibly could. And you're certainly not building enough intrigue for it. So I want to see just a revision of this. Really pay attention to like driving home the benefits, driving home the outcomes that people can get from watching this. Now, those 2 things are enough for me to want, but I want to at least read one bullet to give advice. So in the short yet powerful masterclass, you will get insight on the fastest way to become a better copywriter is to implement these 3 steal like an artist tactics. So This is a piece of advice I got from David Deutsch many, many years ago. But the cool thing about bullets and writing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bullets is every now and again you stumble across a bullet that would serve really well as a subhead. I feel like with some revision, with some rewording, this bullet is a better headline. The fastest way to become a better copywriter is to implement these 3 steal like an artist tactics. How about we change this into the secret or the little known tactics that provide the fastest way to become a better copywriter? That's kind of weak, but you understand what I'm saying. Like the tactics, you're either focusing on the tactics or you're giving a pathway, the fastest way to become a better copywriter. And that's ultimately the benefit. But using these tactics feels a little bit more unique, because it's these 3 tactics and it's all sort of specific. There's 3 of them. So ultimately, you can use a bullet as a subhead. That will work pretty well. So go through your bullets. That's fine. But mostly, I want you to revise these. And I think ultimately this could be pretty strong with just like one more round of revision. Yeah, I was looking for good copy for surgical items as well, but I don't know where to find copy on surgical items which can be used as a template. So, yeah, you're going to want to talk to doctors and you're going to want to talk to clinics and you're going to want to talk to hospitals because guess what? Most of the copy that you're going to find there are going to be for in like brochures, catalogs, for example. Um, I have actually signed up to a number of medical device lists, and they basically write to me as though I were a scientist, as though I were like a clinic owner. And so, like, it's hard to find, especially if you're not the business that they're trying to target, because obviously they don't want to waste money sending them like a catalog to you. But that's all stuff that you can do. So, okay, going to move on to the next one. And I'm going to jump around again because we have another product page just to keep this interesting. Got to juice the YouTube algorithm a little bit. We're going to look at this page, which is written by David Bruckner. Okay, bit of context. This is a product page for this content. Okay, everybody can see that, right? It is a creatine powder supplement. Good. Lots of good research around creatine as being one of the very few effective supplements for actual strength and mass building. Currently, there's no description at all for this product. Planning on pitching the guy with this product page as free value. Okay. Love it. Copy comes mostly from researching competitors and a little indirect voice of character research. Target is people who work out and want to increase their muscle mass and overall performance in the gym. Got it. So, let's see. I guess the question that I have, so here's the thing. And this is something you want to pay attention to when you are auditing websites or paying attention to businesses. Some website builders, and let's scroll to the bottom and see if do we know what kind of website builder this was? No. Powered by Shopify. Okay, it's a Shopify site. What you want to do is you want to go onto Shopify and actually look at product pages and make sure that this page has the ability to host the copy that you want. And I'll give you a specific example of that. People early on for the copy that product pages, they were like, doing a headline and lead and like building a bunch of intrigue and stuff like that. And like Squarespace, the page builder itself will not allow you to deviate from their product page template. It just won't. So, for example, if there's no space for this stuff, it's ultimately not going to serve you very well. Now, I say that keeping in mind that most product page templates for most website builders do have a space for you to put this, do have a space for you to put this. So it should be fine, but I would make sure that that's the case for Shopify in particular. So, Cody, we just got through your product page. I gave you some advice for punching up the little blurb at the top, but also punching up the headline and the lead. Um, Mostly, like, it just felt like it wasn't driving home, like, the benefits, like, the why you would want to buy this thing enough. But I think it's actually pretty close. I was very critical during the whole thing, but I'm very critical because all y'all are paying me to be critical. I'm not being critical because there's anything, like, fundamentally super wrong with it, just stuff that you can improve. So, let's look at this. Creatine powder. Is that what it's called? So, Santa Cruz Paleo Creatine powder. I would, if I were this business owner, I would want to test with some branded names, but that's the business owner's decision, not necessarily the copywriter. This is a question you want to ask when I do a live for my other YouTube channel, DIY Wealth. But also, I will answer any question as long as y'all donate. But that is a very good question, and it's one I wish you would ask me back before gold went up. Like, enhance your workout performance with our creatine powder, 100% made in the USA. Love that. Love that positioning right there. So, when I say positioning, what do I mean by that? Um, right now, if you're a copywriter trying to sell yourself, you can say, like, "Hey, like, I'll get copy out the fastest utilizing AI technology." Okay, great. So people are going to hire you because, like, oh, this copywriter knows how to utilize AI technology. That's your positioning. You are the AI powered copywriter. Now, here's the thing. You can also position yourself as purely 100% human written copywriter. So, what that means is that when somebody hires you, what they're getting is copy that was not touched by AI. And some businesses are going to be really, really, like, interested in that. Now, both of those are totally fine, and businesses are going to want one or the other, and you position yourself as one or the other to appeal to those different businesses based on what they're looking for. One thing I can tell you about people that live in countries is, yeah, especially the US, they're very nationalistic. And, like, made in the USA was like a whole advertising campaign, like, in the 80s. So it's this whole thing that you can sort of tap into and utilize. So that's good positioning right there. Increase your muscle strength and endurance, speed up muscle recovery time, boost cognitive functions, and gain neuroprotective effects. Um, yeah, I go on the fence, like, for, like, nerdy advanced language like this. It really depends on the brand and the language that they use typically. It also depends on that. I wonder if language like this, like, puts people off because it's confusing, but ultimately, like, it should be fine. Boost cognitive functions and gain neuroprotective effects. I mean, here's the thing. If people want to boost their cognitive function, they probably don't have enough cognitive function to, one, speak well on stream, but also, two, understand this bullet. So maybe consider rewording that, but I don't think it's going to be super important that you do. Just keep it in mind. Free of flow agents, perfect for regular use. I don't know what these are. I'm confused. So, yeah. Work on these two little teaser bullets because they're a little confusing. Keto, I would say keto friendly, sugar free, gluten free, paleo friendly. Again, like, you probably did your research and you probably know that, like, each of, like, this is good for keto diets, but I would add that additional, like, keto friendly, paleo friendly, sugar free, gluten free. That's just a personal thing. And if that's already in the actual thing, here, let's zoom in. Yeah, it does look like there's, like, other language. Let's see if we can zoom in even further. No. Yeah, I would for the copy, I would do that. Keto friendly. I have another channel. Yes, I do. I have two others, actually. So 100% pure creatine monohydrate powder. Jesus Christ. I'm so tired and I'm just speaking terribly today. Creatine is an amino acid found mostly in your muscles and in your brain. It plays a vital role in your body's cellular energy production by recycling ATP, the body's main energy source that helps you perform at your best during high intensity exercise, and is also the fuel source for your brain. This is a very long sentence. You're packing a lot into that one sentence. Break that up. I lose the pot along the way. Combine creatine with weight training and see an increase in muscle mass and physical performance. Is that a command? Are you commanding me to? Interesting. I'm not sure what the sentence is doing. Supplementing with creatine also increases energy availability for your brain, which will support your cognitive functions and boost muscle strength, enhance athletic performance. Okay. This is going to be the grammar copy that stream. I've already talked about abbreviations and prepositions. Now we get to talk about parallelism, which will support your cognitive functions. And this is the beginning of a parallelism. So what follows is going to be a list. That means every individual item on that list needs to grammatically work with the flow of the sentence, which will support your cognitive functions and quick recovery time. What? That doesn't make any sense. It makes sense for it will support your cognitive functions and boost muscle strength. Good. Enhance this, improve this, reduce this. What's common? Verb, 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 verb. Adjective? Doesn't make any sense. Now, I've been doing this for 20 years, so I look at this and I can immediately see that. The best way for you to do that when you're looking at any sort of list is to just look at this item, like pretend the rest of the list does not exist. Would the sentence make sense if it were just this plus this alone? If yes, then you're doing a good job on that parallelism. Yeah. Quicken is a good alternative. So, quicken is a verb. Our Santa Cruz Paleo Creatine powder is free of additives and fillers like magnesium. Not going to try to pronounce that. Leaving you with a simple and pure creatine. I would put a comma there. Perfect for regular use. This is not bad. I would say this is at the point where it needs line edits more than anything else. But as far as like actual product page copy goes, this is good. Yeah, you're doing a call out. It's very useful. It's very direct. I like it. It just needs some punch ups. Actual line editing stuff. Stuff that we don't normally talk about on this channel because we try to talk more about ideas. Okay. How to use. So, okay, these are links. And again, some pages don't have this functionality. So if you click this, you see this. If you click this, you see this. So you click this, you get this. Okay. That's all totally fine. You know, like I'm not going to waste time with it. I think ultimately what you're doing here is good. I think you have something solid. I would like to see the copy get punched up a little bit. I think, especially if you're trying to use this to get a job, get your foot in the door, you want to put your best foot forward. So fix these 2 bullets and do a little bit of line editing, and I think you are on track. So, good job. Any questions? Do you have any questions along the way? I think if you can get this published, it's definitely an improvement over the alternative. Here, let me pull that tab back up. This, where it's just creatine powder. You know, it's the chances are this is probably selling fairly well because people who want creatine powder. Like I've gone just looking. I just want pure creatine monohydrate powder. That's all I want. And so this this would probably be enough for me. But as Dan Kennedy said, once you've sold somebody, you need to sell them again, and then you need to sell them again. And I would say that this page would only benefit, not hurt, from more copy. And I think you did a good job here. So I feel like the instances where I say you did a good job are less satisfying than me just ripping people apart. So far, people have been doing great. Wonderful. David, I just want to say, David, that I have been mildly monitoring your success and trajectory since you began submitting copy months ago. And I want to remark upon the marked improvement I have been seeing. Your copy has gotten better. Like, I feel like you've actually been learning stuff, which is really cool to see. Now I want to see you get really dummy fucking rich. But that's going to take time. You're on your way. I just want to say that I've been noticing your progress and you've been doing a very good job. So I'm proud of you. Everybody give David like a little like golf clap because he's been putting in the hours and putting in the work. Other than Nesby, what should you be looking for while reading copy when it comes to conveying subtextual meaning? Oh, goodness. That is a whole video unto itself. And I do have a video about reverse engineering copy and like what to look for. But subtext and subtextual meaning, that is just here. Let's go with a very specific example. Okay, if you've been looking at copy and wondering what on earth am I even supposed to be looking for? Well, guess what? Rod, a successful copywriter who whipped this class up just for you, a successful copywriter for marketer and Nike. Okay, let's look at that. What is the subtext of Rod, a successful copywriter and marketer for Nike, whipped up this class just for you? That copy is terrible, but there's subtext there. So what is the subtext of Rod, a successful copywriter and marketer for Nike, whipped up this class just for you? Okay. Obviously, it's only drawing attention to his credentials and like the bigness of that company. The context being like, if he writes copy for this big company, oh, that must mean he's a big deal and worth learning from. Obviously, to get a job working for a big brand like Nike, you actually have to know what the hell you're talking about, what the hell that you're doing. So the subtext there is, if I were Kyle Milligan, I would just like underline it with yellow. I think he uses yellow for cred, and then he would just write cred in the margins there, because that's what it's subtextually communicating. Is it new? No. Easy? No. Big? Not really. Safe? Nah. Credibility sort of implicitly implies safeness, but really the subtext there is that if you listen to Rod, you will get good advice. Why? Because he works for Nike. So that's the subtext of what's going on there. So here's the thing. Everything is going to be different. Like line by line, sentence by sentence, like, you can read subtext into anything and draw subtext from anything so long as it's supported by the text. So he would write safe. Yeah, he would write cred or safe or something along those lines. Oh, I have a question about sales letters, the long ass ones. I know the more expensive the product, the more convincing you need, but I feel some can be much shorter than 30 pages or so. Thoughts? Here are my thoughts. And I've shared this anecdote before. I was at a marketing conference in Washington, D.C., and I was sitting at the same table as the conversion rate optimization expert for companies like Citibank. Small brands like Citibank, multi-billion-dollar companies. And I asked her while she was presenting on stage, what is one thing that you constantly want to test, but clients always push back against, but which always wins? She had an immediate answer. Longer always wins. Longer always wins. Like, it doesn't, when I say longer always wins, it doesn't always win. Like, there's going to be some rare instances where shorter form copy tends to win. Like, that's especially true for like squeeze pages. But for stuff that actually requires a conversion or that leads to a sale or like some sort of service, longer tends to do better. like most of the time. And that's true for almost everybody else that I've spoken to in my entire career. And I've also seen it. Mark Ford talks about how they used to have mailers where, like, when you wrote a sales letter, it was an actual letter. It was like on a piece of paper, you'd staple it and then you'd mail it. And because you had to pay for postage and postage is determined by weight, you couldn't just mail a million pages. Like the limit was like 8, 16, sometimes 32. But in the early 90s, like stuff started to change. Like people started to like fold things up and like make it like feel like a little book. And all of a sudden you had sales letters going out that were like 40 pages, 50 pages, 60 pages long. And then somebody came up with the idea, like, what if we release like the Magalog, like an actual glossy magazine that was just a sales letter, 120 pages, fully produced each page, killed it. Every single increase in length led to an increase in conversions. It was just proven over and over and over again. And every single time that iteration happens, there's always going to be the sort of status quo people that say nobody's going to read that. That could never work. It's too long. It's happened every single year for the past 50 years. And every single time, longer wins. It's always going to be context dependent. It's always going to be stuff that you have to test against each other, but longer just tends to do better. Do I know why? I have some intuitions, but I can't tell you what's in people's hearts. I can't tell you like why people do the things that they do. The things people do sometimes baffle me. And there's no way we can really know. All we know is what we test and what the tests prove. So there you go. Yeah, Kyle is really, really good for talking about subtext. He and I are friends. Go into the live tab and like scroll back and you'll see a few like collaborative streams that we've done together. He's a good dude. Worth learning from. People really read all that. Now here's the thing. Even though I'm saying longer always wins, I'm also going to tell you that I know for a fact that people don't read all of the copy. So it's a weird paradoxical thing where and this is what my intuition is saying, that people beyond a certain point are just getting worn down. I suspect that long copy just wears people down to a point where all of a sudden they start skimming. And if they're skimming and your subheads are good and like the emphasis and the pictures that you have are good, like you've already sold somebody by the time you've worn them down. And then everything else is just not fucking it up. So that's my hypothesis. Do I have a way to test this? Not really. So, yeah, the first promo that I ever wrote that sold over $1 million of revenue was 115 pages long, and it was a webinar. So it wasn't just people reading; it was people sitting there, butt in seat, listening to people talk about a thing. 115 pages. So I've kind of been looking at this. So this is the masterclass for the Steal the Eyes of a Copywriting God masterclass on breaking down copy. So this is actually for the same masterclass that we just read about for Cody, I believe. Or is it? I'm not sure which masterclass this is for. Hold on. If you've been looking at the copy and wondering what the heck, what am I on earth am I even supposed to be looking for? Well, guess what? Rod, this just feels clunky, and I feel like this can all be tightened. It's doing too much. Discover all the little known strategies that can help you effectively break down and study any type of copy without breaking a sweat. I want to compare that. Not to that or that, but to this. So this masterclass, this product page was written for the exact same masterclass that this person is writing for. Now, what do you think is stronger? Imagine being able to take ideas that other people have used, adapt them for what you're working on, throw a different spin on it. even though I want her to change this, I feel like this here is stronger than this here. Now, why is that? Because this is more focused on the benefit directly to the reader than this. This copy right here would probably be good for the lead, but this is better for the teaser. This gets people to want to read the rest, especially if you punch it up and articulate the benefits a little bit better. Whereas this, not so much. I'm not even down to the bullets yet, and I already want to stop reading. Even when you're up against the most complex and trickiest piece of copy, can I just say right now that if you, copywriter, are reading a piece of copy that feels complex and tricky, it might not be the best piece of copy there is. I'm just going to put that out there. Copy should be, how should I say, frictionless. It's trying to sell stuff. Think about it. With just a mere glance, you instantly understand how, why, and what makes winning copy work. You can easily look at any piece of successful copy, pinpoint the winning ideas, techniques, angles, then integrate those ideas, techniques, angles into your own copy and get crazy results. Selling a masterclass on studying copy is hard. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to put this to chat. When you read these bullets, do you look at this stuff and go, oh yeah, I want that? Because you have to keep in mind, this copy was written for people like you. You are the intended audience of this copy, if you're watching this right now. So I have to ask you, when you read these bullets, do you go, oh yeah, that I gotta know what that is. I gotta know what this is doing. I gotta know why this is so powerful. Find it unbelievable. Mere glance might be a little bit too over the top. Doesn't feel beginner friendly, certainly. So somebody was mentioning the daily practice. It's read a piece of copy per day. And notice how I said piece of copy per day. So if you're studying sales letters, you want to read a full sales letter. If you're studying emails, read one full email. Write a page of copy per day, not a whole thing. Like, you obviously can't write a sales letter in a day. Even when I was on Adderall, I wasn't able to do that. So don't even try. Come up with one idea per day. Absolutely. Yeah. Other people saying no. What kind of lead would I use for this? I do not know. It really depends on the angle and the positioning. The copy is not simple. That I would absolutely agree with. I feel like this is it's not a lead. So here's the thing. This is the lead. Headline, lead, and then for a product page, this is just teaser copy. And it's way too much. There's way too much teaser copy. But here's the thing. You can sort of get a sense, like, you have whoever wrote this has a captive audience of people that would be the ideal buyer for this. The people watching this show right now are the people that you would want to sell to. And what they seem to be saying is, no, I wouldn't want to buy this. I'm not interested. So what should that part of the copy do? So in past streams, I've talked about this extensively, but this part of the copy really is just to sort of reaffirm and build intrigue for what this is, to build enough interest to draw attention. I'm going to show you a specific example of what this can do. I'm going to use Pampers diapers. Huggy size 4 diapers, little movers. Aw, shit. Yeah, we're going to the diaper channel now. All right. So what's going on here? It's calling out what it is. It's describing what it is up to 12 hours. So it's describing the benefits clearly and succinctly. using specific language. It's the number one best fitting diaper made with curved shape to move your baby. It's using what's called titular grammar. That's totally fine. Made with curved shape to move with your baby and virtually. Remember earlier in the stream when I talked about the use of virtually eliminate leaks. It's not going to eliminate all leaks, but it virtually eliminates leaks for worry-free running, jumping, and playing. For babies on the move, double grip strips. That's a unique mechanism right there. Right there. Even Huggies diapers uses unique mechanisms. Double grip strips help keep the diaper in place while your baby is crawling, moving, or walking. What is all this doing? It's spelling out benefits. It's articulating like why people would be more interested in this. It's sort of teasing at a unique mechanism. It's talking about drawbacks and removing those drawbacks. Safe for sensitive skin, fragrance-free, lotion-free, paraben-free. That's what's going on here. That's what this teaser is for. And then the rest of the copy goes more in depth into all those different things. So there you go. That's what this piece of copy is for. So no, for product pages, it's a little different. The lead is what follows a headline. And again, every format, template, things like that, it's a little bit different. You're going to see a lot of variation, which is why it's useful to be flexible about these terms. Yeah, exactly. It was setting Huggies apart from every other diaper in the world. It makes it feel unique. It makes it feel desirable. We just proved by polling the audience that this does not make the masterclass feel desirable. And so that's something that you want to keep in mind. Like when you're selling a masterclass or coaching on something that feels a little mundane, you want to really hammer home on the things like the outcomes that people truly want. So, here's the thing I'm confused about. Let's take this example. Imagine if I were to sell Pinterest marketing to problem-aware, Jesus Christ, so much marketing jargon. Pinterest marketing to problem-aware, direct-to-consumer brand owners. Do I talk about and sell Pinterest or the unique mechanism? You want to sell the unique mechanism. Now, why is that? Ultimately, it really depends on the business. If they are already on Pinterest, then what you're doing is you're selling the unique mechanism. If you are talking to a business that isn't on Pinterest and you think that they can make more money on Pinterest, then you're selling them on Pinterest first and then talking about why your service is unique. And then you would sell the unique mechanism. So think of it in terms of like one stage of selling versus two stages of selling. If the person is already sold on Pinterest, you don't really need to sell them again. As Dan Kennedy would say, you have to sell them again. But you can do that in way less space than selling a business on like getting them onto Pinterest, if that makes sense. I was reading Copy We Like comments, and I remember Alex referring to this point of writing bullets for ecom offers. We can write the bullets. Yes, absolutely. As a quick aside, could you give an example of what you mean by 3, come up with an idea a day? What do you mean by idea? This is a question that we always get. We've talked about it extensively, but I'll give you an example of an idea. So I was reading an email relatively recently, and the email started with like, hey, Sean, take a look at this. And it showed a meme. And I was like, not a whole lot of emails, like especially sales emails, open up with a meme. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool to test using a meme as a pattern interrupt for a lift email? That was my idea per day. Using a meme as a way to interrupt people's like day and get attention, to disrupt them. That was the idea. Here's another idea I wrote relatively recently. I was changing a diaper. Obviously, I'm a dad of 2 under like 4 years old. And so like I have diapers on the mind constantly. And my son took just the gnarliest shit. Just an immense, it was cataclysmic. The old gods trembled. They cowered at the magnitude of this baby shit. It was everywhere and it stank. And so I thought, huh, rather than like, take an individual wet wipe and like try to scrape the poop off of this newborn ass, wouldn't it be great if there was just like a tub, like a little baby power washer that had jets that sort of like circled around and just sprayed the poop off, magically conveyed the poop away from me so that I didn't have to touch it with like a wet wipe, which is like, God, I don't know, like trying to sop up like 20 gallons of urine with like a single towel. Like it was awful. Baby, plop in the machine, tie a little thing, like a little like tarp around them so that they're supported. Press button, poop gets sprayed off, pull baby out, clean, brand new baby, not covered in a cataclysmic amount of shit. That was another idea that I wrote down. So what I mean by ideas is angles, positioning. Like I mentioned earlier, like, hey, a good positioning for a copywriter right now is to either be, AI supported, like so that you can get copy fast, or fully human AI so that you can get messaging that, is unique. Something like that. So like both of those are possible ideas. You can position yourself as one or the two of those. That's an idea. Also product ideas, marketing ideas, funnel ideas. Anything is an idea. It's about like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if, and then you just write that down. Trying a story lead. I think, did we just, hold on one second. I think we just published that. Advanced. Yeah, Spark That Sells. Yeah, dude. Cody won. Like we paid her for this copy. She got it. You got to watch the old streams, man, and pay attention to the actual page because she nailed it. This is published. We paid for it. Obviously, if you think you can do better, try. We will assess, but it's not something that we're going to test because, again, these are designed to be evergreen. This is designed to like be fodder for a thing that exists, and also give you an opportunity to write and get paid to write, so that you have actual portfolio pieces that you can point to. Like we don't drive a whole lot of sales from these pages. We spend more than we get from these pages on the copy that people write for them. So. I changed a diaper and I do not give half of a baby's cataclysmic shit what Andrew Tate would or would not approve of. Yeah, the baby bidet. That's what I'm talking about. Would stretching out negative and graphic descriptions be a turnoff for some people? Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I was watching the people that were viewing this stream as I was describing my baby's enormous shit, and like the stream numbers just went from like 30 down to 24. Like 6 people just can't handle it. Poop. Something everybody does almost every day. So there you go. Yeah. The unique idea, Weird Nerds Daily Revelation. Yeah, totally. Ah. Bonjour, comment ça va? So, all right. This, without going too far, like it just feels like this copy isn't really working for me. So let's move on because I want to try to clip through because I am going to do a hard stop at 5 because I am going to go see Tool tonight. So let's move on to the next piece of copy. Let's analyzing copy masterclass. Okay. Yeah, we already looked at this. Check. I looked at this. I'm going to add a check to that. While I'm adding a check and doing like basic administrative stuff, how is everybody doing tonight? How are you all doing? Everybody good? Everybody feeling all right? What are the chances for you to review a landing page sales letter spec piece I've written by dropping a link in chat? 0. There is a 0% chance. All right. So we got another product page for Copy That Masterclass. I'm going to skip around again just to keep me interested. We actually do have a cold email to review. So we'll come back to this. I promise. Actually, I promise nothing. I probably should not promise anything. But we're going to look at this, which is a cold email. And a lot of people talk about cold email and want to learn about cold email. So I'm going to, go into it. I'm doing okay. I'm looking forward to tonight. I'm very tired, though. I'm exhausted. So, I'm glad to hear that. So this is a cold email. Let me zoom in. Cold email I was planning to send to a cosmetics brand called Boss Up Cosmetics. Love it. You guys are sleeping on the cosmetics niche. Let me tell you. I was talking to an agency owner, and what he would do is he would do white labeled cosmetics, and then he would make ClickBank offers for like different like offers around like cosmetics and different like ways to do your makeup, and he would have whole full funnels and stuff like that. And like his stuff was so good and his copy was so good, and he was selling hundreds of thousands of dollars a month of like women's makeup. And like he was the most alpha, like, like a little misogynistic, a little sexist, but like this dude had cracked the code on selling makeup to women. Like he was just so good at it, and he was making so much money doing it. So there's compliance issues for every type of copy in terms of the claims that you can make. It's just, it's one of those things where it's like I can't tell you what that is. I've never written for cosmetics, but there are definitely rules for it. Yeah, the health niche is always booming, so keep that in mind. So the owner is a girl named Aaliyah who has just graduated from high school last year. I've been trying to come up with ideas for pattern interrupts, but I can't seem to think much, as this is my first time writing a cold email, and there isn't much info about her on the website and on her LinkedIn profile as well. Can you guys please help me by giving ideas for pattern interrupts and how I can start and structure my email? I wrote the rest of the email though. Okay, so we're going to review a cold email right now for this particular cosmetics brand that she does not have a whole lot of information about the creator on. Yeah, no, like ClickBank, you will encounter 60-page sales letters for makeup, for cosmetics, and it sells so very well. Oh, it's good. I love reading cosmetic and like health copy and stuff like that. Do you have any tips on finding affiliate products? Seems like everything on ClickBanks is a scam. Yeah, whenever I want to determine if something is a scam or not, I buy it. So I can write copy for it really well because I have the user experience. It's it's not rocket science. Like make sure it's a scam first, and if it is, don't write copy for it. Yeah, health is very picky. I was talking about that earlier on the stream. Okay. So let's look at this cold email. Guys, you guys know how I feel about cold email. I hate them. So I'm going to be unfiltered for this. Hey, Aaliyah. While I was going through your product pages, I noticed these. Actual picture of La Jefa, Boss Up Cosmetics. Okay. Let me tell you a little something about entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. You might show them a picture of their own page, or you might show them tell them like, hey, this is a thing that you're doing. This is a thing that you have on your website. They might not have any idea. They might have paid somebody like to build it for them, and they just have zero clue what you're talking about. So you might need to give a little bit more context. Going through your product pages, I noticed these. Although the pictures of your lip gloss look absolutely bomb and the descriptions are concise and to the point, I do feel that there's a scope to make the descriptions better. I feel like there's a scope. Oh, cosmetics have super loose oversight in the US. There are things you need to look out for, but it's kind of famously scarily unregulated. Yeah, supplements are the same way. No, again, I'm telling you guys, like all y'all want the same niches. Finance, health, selling coaching so that, alpha males can make other alpha males more alpha. All y'all are sleeping on the jewelry niche. All y'all are sleeping on like seawall repair services. Like all y'all are sleeping on like the people that actually make a ton of money in copywriting and marketing. Selling like, weird experiences. Um, Scaling up copy for example, for like a a touring dinosaur exhibit. Like you can write copy for all of these things, and those people make so much money. Roofing, carpet cleaning, makeup. So this copy, it was a little confusing to me. All the pictures of your lip gloss look absolutely bomb. That's totally fine. I want you to be personable in your cold emails. The descriptions are concise and to the point. I do feel like there's scope to. So there's a scope is very technical language. Like for example, this activity is within scope, as in within the scope of this particular job or this particular activity. Um, don't use highfalutin language like that especially in cold emails to make the descriptions better. Here's a sample piece I wrote for you so that you understand exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. I would not include this, include this as an attachment or another thing that you can do. I've seen this done. It's never worked for me. I've never enjoyed it, but I've seen other people do it and get success with it, which is like I've written, you know, like an example of what you could do, reach out to me and I'll send it to you. It's a trick to get engagement and stuff like that. Um, I'm more of an upfront and like direct guy, which is I'll just be like attach stuff to an email and be like, "Hey, I wrote this thing for you. Like, if you like it, great, use it, no problem. If you hate it, no harm, no foul." So, oh yeah, this is another one. Bunkers, safe rooms, attachments for construction equipment, cremation torts. There's so much untapped potential. We have a whole book about this called No Man's Niche that we sold, which is just all about just partnering with like small, weird niche businesses that you've never heard of before, and like how you can actually scale the marketing and the copy for that business without like needing a whole lot of very, very good copy. So. Oh, I love writing for businesses like that. I actually am going to be writing about one of them soon. So yeah, in America, people will spend so much money to buy bunkers on their property, like actual like bomb shelters and shit like that. There's a whole niche market for that. I love it. It's crazy. It's insane. But Biden's gonna nuke the South, don't you know? Oh God, this video is gonna get demonetized because I said that. Forgive me, YouTube. Uh, anyway, so I don't think this email is working right now, and the reason for that is because you're just coming out and being like, "Hey, look at this thing. I'm not entirely sure what I'm looking at. I'm looking at like a price. I'm looking at a price, like something that I can add to cart. I don't really understand what I'm looking at." And then you're talking about product descriptions. I see no product descriptions. And like, you're not saying, "Hey, there are no product descriptions on your product pages." You're saying, "I feel like I can make them better." And so here's a sample piece I wrote for you so that you understand exactly what I'm talking about. You can just come out and say in your cold email, "Listen, I want to be the person who writes killer product descriptions for you and helps you make a lot more money. If you want an example of what I can do, I actually whipped something up for you and I've attached it to this email. It's free. You can use it if you want. If you want me to write more like this for you, I'd love to talk more." It's again about crafting an offer and building intrigue and like articulating why you would want to do something. I don't know if this product description is super good. Again, you would want to understand like the page and like you would want to articulate and structure it like the page. If you can wireframe something, that's typically sells better. Do you have to do that? No, but will it sell better and prove that you can like do stuff and design stuff and make that whole process more frictionless for the client? Yes. And so why wouldn't you do it? It's a little bit more work for like way more proof that you're capable of doing what you say you're capable of doing. Um, I just don't think that that's working. So I guess that's the product description I wrote for you. Oh, dude, you've got to be confident. You have to have confidence in your abilities. So again, like I don't think you should include it in the email. Absolutely not. Do one of the two methods that I mentioned before. Um, but don't say things like, I guess that's a product description before. You are good enough to get hired. Everybody watching, you are good enough to get hired by somebody. I don't know who, but you are good enough to get hired by somebody. So work your way through the world with that knowledge because it's true. If you like it, then I'd be happy to rewrite all your other product descriptions as well. So that's what the offer is. In case you're wondering, I'm actually a copywriter. So a lot of business owners, especially small business owners, have no idea what a copywriter is. Articulate this in a different way. I write for a little bit about me. I write for businesses like yours. My specialty is in helping small business owners get more sales. So that's the thing. It is absolutely grammatically correct. It's a little paradoxical, but it is grammatically correct. So feel free to reply back to this email so that we can discuss about improving the other ones as well. Get rid of feel free to. So especially in your cold emails, I want you to get rid of your soft language without coming across like an asshole. I guess that's the product description I gave you. Feel free to reply back. You can just tell people to reply back. Like actually, and that again, that comes with confidence in your abilities, which you should have because you are worthy of being paid for your work. I'm telling you. Oh, and also, it is kind of cute that you're doing the conversational things, but it's indulgent. Just avoid that. You don't have to pay me anything if you're not happy with what I wrote. I would just articulate it the way I articulated before. The copy I provided, feel free to use it if you want. If it drives sales, if it drives additional sales for you, then I'd love to write more for you. Just let me know and we'll work out a deal. But of course, this sample, you're completely free to use it. And if you hate it, then we don't have to talk anymore. If that piques your interest or piques your interest, feel free to reply back to this email. Again, feel free to. I mentioned before about like looking for things that you tend to overuse in copy, especially in close proximity. These little syntactic templates that you people tend to have in your brain. You need to be mindful of the ones that you use over and over and over again so that you can search for them in your copy and then delete them or change them up. Yeah. All right. Sales emails, product descriptions to increase revenue, etc. Yeah, absolutely. Feru's, there's a lot of potential here, but I want you to rethink your approach in a few different key areas. Haven't got it yet because Sean says you don't need it to make money, but we'll definitely get it when pass it. Yeah, the Patreon is super helpful, but I don't want newbies. Like, here's the thing that I don't want. I don't want you to pay me for 3 months of Patreon and then be like, actually, copywriting fucking sucks and I don't want to do this. Then you just wasted your money on something that like you sort of could have figured out on your own for free. So if you're committed, if you're making money from this, then pay for the Patreon. But until that point, I don't want your money. Let's see. Would you do free sample for every follow-ups? No, I would absolutely not. No, because that feels like. Have you heard the term love bombing? LOVE and then bombing, BOMB. Probably shouldn't say that because I will get demonetized again. But it's where, like, you know, say you're dating a person, you're dating a guy, and he's being kind of like aloof and a little bit distant, and you're just like, oh my god, I'm really into this dude. I don't want to lose him. And so what you do is you start blowing up with text messages, and you start calling him every day, and you buy him like gifts, and every time you see him, like, you give a different gift, and the guy is just like, uh, thanks. Little creeped out, little put off. Here's the thing. Even if it's a thing that they want, even if it's a really thoughtful gift, you're going to push that person away if you seem desperate. So don't do that. So that's my advice about this particular cold email. Now, I promised that I would come back to another product page from Kevin Armando. I'm going to give a little check to that. Now, context for the Give Them a Show masterclass. So just to remind everybody what we're doing here. So on our page, copy that show, we have different products and different services. And if we go to Give Them a Show, where is it? There it is. We do not have copy for a lot of our product pages. We will pay you to practice writing copy, and we'll give you advice. This is a masterclass on crafting a good CV and resume. And I actually helped Alex develop and write this particular resume. He was actually sitting on that chair when he made the resume and CV that he talks about in this particular masterclass. And that got him a director of marketing job for a business that is going to make him a fucking millionaire. He's going to get so stupidly rich off of the business that he's currently working with. So, yeah, it was very fun to see him, like, sort of develop and, like, think through and give him advice, like, as he was writing it and developing it. So that was a good time. Anyway, where was I? Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Here we go. Yeah, Alex's CV is actually brilliant. So, and the whole insight that he got that I've spoken about before, which is a CV and resume is just copy. Most CVs and resumes suck because they miss the point of what they're for, which is to advertise yourself. Is it only open for Patreon subscribers? Well, let me put it this way. Can you watch the thing that you're writing for if you're not a Patreon subscriber? No. So that answers your question. So let's look at this. Give them a show. Masterclass on crafting the perfect CV or resume. Have you ever heard people say first impressions are everything? Well, when it comes to applying for a job, it certainly is true. Bad news is that most people's first impressions are less than memorable, uninspiring even. But listen, I'm all for using punctuation in, like, semi-grammatical or ungrammatical ways to communicate the effects of speech. Like, oh man, you will not find a greater believer of ellipses than me. But just like earlier in the stream when I was talking about puns drawing attention to themselves, right here, the punctuation is drawing attention to itself. Bad news is that most people, but those are good news. Those are good news. That is good news for you. It's drawing attention to itself. Again, overuse of a thing draws attention to a thing. So thank you very much. I will enjoy Tool very, very, very much. I will let you all know how they do, what they play. I hope most of what they play is not off of uh Seven Tempest. Uh I've seen Tool 4 or 5 times live, and the best show that they ever put on was right after they released Lateralis. They had the performers from the Schism music video on stage performing with them, doing like weird suspension stuff. The light show was crazy. It was incredible. They actually played Ticks and Leeches, which Maynard never sings because it wrecks his voice. It was a good show. So yes, you do. I only like the old Tool. I really like 10,000 Days. 10,000 Days was a really, really good album. It was solid. Yeah, this is what I was talking around. If you want to write for these particular product pages, you need to have access to the product. In order to have access to the product, you have to be a Patreon member. So, oh, nice, 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 nice. Evan, take care. I owe you comments, and I promise to get to them at some point very, very soon. I so for everybody in the know or not in the know, I hired Evan to write a sales letter for me for a business that I want to launch, and he has had a draft in my inbox for a month. I've just been like busy because like I want to give it like the proper time of day and the proper attention. Um, I just haven't gotten to it yet. I've been a bad client, so yeah, no bueno. Back to the copy. This feels uninspiring to me. Like it's like it's running to the same problem that the other product page copy was sort of running into, where I was like, this doesn't feel like it's grabbing me. And also that it's written more like it's a lead as opposed to like the product description like blurb area, which is typically more bullet driven, but it doesn't have to be. Because once you discover Alex's golden rules for writing top 1% CVs and resumes, you'll have zero competition when applying to any gig and job you want. Now, I want you guys to put yourself in my shoes. You own a business. You want to make sure that the people who buy the things from your business get feel like every single promise is fulfilled. I like 0% scammed. Like when they buy something, they are satisfied and they're happy with what they buy. When you read this, you'll have zero competition when applying to any gig and job you want. Is that a promise that you, as a business owner, would feel comfortable making? I'm all for big claims and big promises if you can back it up. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to a big claim or big promise, you can just hedge it a little bit. You'll have practically zero competition, virtually zero competition. Small changes like that completely change the nature of the promise, because you're not promising that they'll have zero competition. So, yeah, same as the mere glance thing earlier. It's just some of the language is over the top. But if you hedge it right, it's still persuasive, but saves the ass of the business that puts out your copy. Stuff to keep in mind. Disclaimer: Alex has never shown these techniques anywhere else. This is why after this masterclass, you'll be 1,354% more likely to secure a job. Okay, really quick. True story, I once tried to do this in a sales letter where legal was just like, bro, you can't say that unless you put a little box below it with a disclaimer. And I tried to be cutesy and like spin the disclaimer like, oh, this is a disclaimer, but it's actually a secret benefit. And legal handed my ass to me. The compliance team just read that and they were like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like if we ever get dragged into court, we actually have to be able to justify every single line of copy. And if a judge or like a district attorney looks at this and says, oh, you're making a disclaimer, but it's actually just as misleading as the other misleading copy. Like, what the hell do you think they're going to do to us? What the fuck are you thinking? And I was like, all right, I learned my lesson. The lesson being, if you're going to say something as a disclaimer, it actually has to be a disclaimer. You can certainly soften the language. You can certainly like couch the language in a way that doesn't like put people off. Like, for example, a disclaimer that says, by the way, we make no guarantees and you'll get zero results from this. Yeah, that certainly disclaims something, but it's going to put people off. So you can soften that language a little bit. You can say, results are not guaranteed. You can say things like, like for some of like a certain number of people that have written in about this business or this particular product, X number of people have reported resounding success, while other people have found that it was not particularly helpful. If you actually go back to the stream. It was like the from inbox, no, sorry, from blank page to inbox. Part of that, I actually reviewed the landing page that I wrote for Copy That's Black Friday bundle. And I had a whole section that basically served as a pseudo disclaimer. Like, here's what the only 1-star review of this product said. And so that served the function of a disclaimer. It's like, here are my cards on the table. It was honest, it was transparent, it showed everything, but also at the same time undercut what that person was saying in a very subtle way. That's why it worked. This does not work. I will give credit where credit is due. It is ultra specific. Goddamn. Zero competition, but 1,354% more likely. Yeah, listen, I am all for hyperbole when used well. I'm all for copy that is enthusiastic and, makes the best possible claims that it can to sell as well as it can. But I am never going to sit here on this stream and tell you that making shit up to sell as many things as you can is okay, because it is not. I and also, like, I'm not even going to be like, the normal joke that I would do is like, what other guru would tell you that, like, be honest in your copy and stuff like that? Nobody else would tell you but me. I'm sure there are others. But like, for now, in this particular instance, like, I want you guys to understand that you can make a lot of money by being honest. It's okay. It's okay to tell the truth. So, and the more honest you are, the more trust it builds. Yes, that is why Copy That is the only copywriting YouTube channel that has the best audience possible. I make myself laugh sometimes with really bad jokes. All right, but I do want to read a little bit of the headline lead. Okay. The golden rules that Alex followed to land a $100,000 per year in-house job. Is it useful? Yes. Is it unique? I would say I'm on the fence about that. Is it ultra specific? It's not bad. Like, it's more specific over here than it is over here. Is it urgent? Doesn't need to be urgent. This is an evergreen page. So it's fine. This headline is just, it feels a little weak fish to me. I think you could punch it up. Despite not having a degree in marketing and zero experience working in-house, Alex managed to pull off these results. Senior product marketing manager, 300 to 400 pounds a day. It took Alex dozens, if not hundreds of pitches to crack the code. Now he's ready to spill the secrets to you so you can shortcut your way to land any job you want. Okay, there's some good stuff happening here, but it's still way over the top. Now, as a seasoned copywriter, he has scaled multiple e-commerce businesses to 6 figures and is now head of marketing for one of the biggest pharmaceutical. We can't say that. He's not the head of one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the UK. It's a tech service. It's a SaaS service, basically. If you want to write persuasive documents that work, again, how many of you are ripping the sheets off of you, sweating naked, like in the morning, and going like, "Oh my god, I want to write persuasive documents." No, like whenever you write a piece of copy, go like, "Okay, this sentence, would I want this if I were the person I was writing to?" If you just look at your copy through that lens, you're always going to write better copy. Alex is the guy you want to hear from. Yeah, I would. This is on the right track. It's too hyperbolic right now. It's going a little bit too far. Um, Crack the code, spill the secrets, shortcut your way. In one sentence, it used 3, salesman cliches. In one sentence. It would probably be stronger if you just used one. So keep that in mind. If you are expecting this masterclass to be a guide on how to build a good conventional CV or resume, this is not for you. Okay, love that. That's good. That's called disqualification, and it works really, really, really well. Instead, in this 2-hour and 13-minute class, you'll acquire the ability to craft a different but more effective magnetic document that will take okay. So this is running to a similar problem that I mentioned before, which is some of the sentences are just really long. You're trying to cram too much shit into one sentence. So stop that. Break your stuff up. Like focus on writing more succinctly and powerfully rather than cramming everything that you feel like you need to say into every single sentence. Here's a glimpse of what you'll get in this masterclass. So, okay, before I go on to that, I just want to say this has potential. I was a little worried about you after reading this, but this is actually pretty close. Clean up the hyperbole a little bit, like make this a little bit more, how should I say, beneficial, like benefit driven. It's very close. It's very close. You're just relying on a few too many cliches. So right now it's like it's operating in that passable stage for a business that doesn't care about their reputation. But I want you to boost it up and bump it up. Remain as enthusiastic. But this again, like what Cody did. It's like one rewrite away from being really good. So keep that in mind, guys. I need to go get ready for a concert. I need to go like shower and shave the Wolfman shit off my neck. Anybody have any questions about copy or marketing or other related things? I know this is a fairly short stream today. Normally I just talk and ramble on for 4 hours, but we covered some landing pages, we covered some product pages, talked a little bit about like how to analyze all these things. But if you have any questions for me, now's your chance. I will give 5 minutes for questions if you have any. And then I'm going to go to a concert with my wife because that's my life. Anybody? No? Yes? I see people coming on, and I always get a little nervous when, like, somebody over here, I have a little dial that shows how many people are actually watching me. And when I'm, like, waiting for questions, I'm just sitting there silently being like, "So, do you have any questions?" And the number goes up. I'm going like, somebody just came onto the stream, and they were like, "Okay, this is just a bald man sitting there staring." Yes. Do them even if you feel like you're annoying the person. I've heard that the optimal number of follow-ups is 7. I've never personally seen somebody like go to that extent before and succeed, but give it a try. And for cold email follow-ups, like try different angles. Like you can certainly say things like, I'll give you an example. The typical follow-up for a cold email is like, "Hey, just wanted to follow up with this. Make sure you saw something." No, that seems like, again, pushy, salesman-y bullshit. Here's a follow-up angle that has worked for like on me, which is Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, then there's this other thing that would be of interest or benefit to the business. So just that slight change of angle as opposed to like a typical follow-up angle. It works, it can work really, really well. So think about that. Thank you. Listen, what I always get a little anxious and nervous about these streams because I'm like, are people learning enough? But like after what like looking at David's copy and seeing like how much he's learned and how much he's progressed in his copy, it's really good. You have a suggestion? Oh God. Is it possible to give alternatives for copy you criticize? More often, that is. What do you mean? Explain what you mean. Would you say people are also sleeping on SaaS copywriting? Not really. No. Because SaaS is just like it's a very broad umbrella category for like a lot of different stuff. And like honest to God, like I've never met a really rich SaaS copywriter. You know what I mean? I've met a rich cosmetics copywriter. I've met rich brand copywriters. I've met rich financial copywriters. I've met rich prepper copywriters. I've met a rich copywriter, and all this person did was sell patriotic US themed t shirts. I have never personally met a SaaS copywriter who was dummy stinking rich. Now, that's purely anecdotal. I obviously don't know everybody on the planet, but SaaS copywriting feels to me like a siren song. If you can get those gigs and those gigs are well paying, go for those gigs. But SaaS has never been a niche that has like held any interest for me whatsoever. I I appreciate that. I definitely feel like I'm boring people at times. Maybe have an overlay. Now that's a good idea. That's a yeah. I'm going to add that banner from now on. I appreciate Herv. If you were ever in Baltimore, let me know. I'll buy you a beer. That was a good idea. Thank you very much, Bessa. Take care. As in, this headline sucks. I would do it like this as opposed to only noting issues. I did that a few times on stream today. Like I looked at a sentence and I gave alternative ideas. I didn't do it for everything because I didn't feel like doing it for everything, but I definitely gave alternatives along the way. Do you think copywriting would exist if the concept of money was never created? I don't even think society would exist if the concept of money was never created. Also, punching up copy, how to edit your copy, etc., equals a potential masterclass. Yeah, we actually, so listen, Lindsey and I have recorded 4.5 hours of a masterclass, which could be broken up into multiple, about punching up your copy, revising your copy, editing your copy, things like that. The big thing that it's missing right now is like very specific examples. And writing an example for every single technique and tool in 4.5 hours of conceptual learning is time consuming. It takes a lot of time. So it exists, but it's all right now very abstract. What it needs is examples. And maybe it's something that we iterate along the way one day, like we'll release it and then like gradually add examples to it, release it as a MVP or minimally viable product. But yeah, right now in the state that it's in, like I just don't, to be completely honest, like copy that. We vetted the business. It's profitable now. And so in direct response, what you want to do is you want to test stuff quickly, see if it works and see if it doesn't, and then get rid of it if it doesn't work. Like just stop doing stuff if it's not working. I almost did that with Copy That. I almost shut down Copy That in November of 2021. Almost shut it down completely. And it was only because of we brought on Alex and I had the sort of commitment of like Rod and Luke that I was like, okay, we can make a real business of this, but we've got to do a few things differently. And then I started implementing a few kind of radical changes in early 2022. And the first thing that we did as part of those radical changes was try to monetize by any fucking means necessary. And we did. And it led to a profitable 2023. And here's the thing now that we're profitable, now that we have a good brand, and now that we're like a sort of trusted source of information with good products out there, now is the point where it's time to start releasing products that are of a level of quality that's above that sort of entry level. And what I mean is, the famous book that sort of is the sort of Bible for direct response businesses and marketing and stuff like that. It's called Ready, Fire, Aim. If we just stick with that, copy that got ready, copy that fired, we still exist. And now it's time to aim stuff. And now at this point in Copy That's journey, I do not feel comfortable, nor do I desire to release any product that I'm getting money for that's any less than perfect. It's one of the reasons right now where we're actually going back and we've been improving the CCA. Link in the description. We've been like adding not only more masterclasses and paid videos to it that are exclusive to that, but we've also been actually adding links to and like other bonuses, other reports, and like other tools and stuff that people can use. We've also been adding links to like the free videos as well, because just because you've paid for a product, that doesn't mean that a free video wouldn't be helpful to you in a specific context. And so we've been really trying to radically like change that product and make that product better. Because again, the goal now is like we have an audience, we're profitable. Now it's time to really like make sure that everything that we're doing is good. If we were trying to extract as much money as humanly possible from you guys, like we would just spam out launches. This is a launch. This is a launch. This is a launch. Oh, I can't wait to show you this exciting thing that I've been working on for the last like 3 months. The amount of value is going to be crazy. No, fuck that. Like, I just want to release a good product and then like improve it along the way based on what people need. So there you go. Sorry, that was a whole spiel. I'm very passionate about this little hobby business of mine. When will you take a look at the videos we made for you, Sir Sean? You made videos for us. Oh, yeah, no, I already started looking at those. So I started going through and I've just been taking notes. The first thing that I have to do is like make sure that between the clips channel and the main channel, I have to make sure that we haven't published stuff before. And like everybody titles stuff differently. And like every clip is like, there's some overlap and stuff. So I've actually been like trying to keep a log of like, all right, well, we've already released this. We've already done this. I don't know if it's going to be materially worse if we, how should I say, re-release stuff. It should be fine. But I've been keeping a log of that just so that I can make sure that I'm like actually saying like, no, we don't want this, but actually have a reason for it. How to know my target audience of clients if I'm doing cold emailing as a copywriter and a web designer. Listen, if you're going broad, then you want to aim for any business that needs both copy and web design. And so you do that by looking at businesses, looking at niches. You can just find any business that needs that. Now, are you really good at copy and web design for a particular niche or for a particular type of business? Like if you've made a service business sales or like landing page that absolutely killed it, you want to keep that ball rolling, double down on your winners. That's why I often say like your niche chooses you. Like if you double down on your winners, you're going to see a snowball of success as opposed to like trying to start from zero every single 10 seconds. But if you've had success in one place before, try to double down. Look for other similar businesses before, or you just go with your interest if you've had no success before. When it comes to actually targeting, especially if you are new and you aren't interested in like going off of your interests or going off your past success, start broad and go narrow. Again, like the more specific your messaging is, the more likely you are to actually get a job. So one of the reasons why, like, Alex, when he was freelancing and he was doing cold email, like he wasn't spamming out like 500 messages to 500 different businesses. He would email like 7. He just did really good research and really understood whom he was talking to. So, but part of that was just like he had success in one area and he parlayed that into success in another. Is it hard to find clients right now as of 2024, especially as a beginner into copyright? I'm not even looking for clients and I just got another client. So like part of the issue that a lot of newbies run into is that they just aren't looking in the right places. People who over rely on cold email, for example, get on Upwork, get on Fiverr. Like I don't even know if Craigslist still exists, but my first copywriting job was I got it on Craigslist. Like you can be creative, and by being creative and being different, being relevant, you're more likely to get a job. Also, changing up your messaging so that you're not relying on a template. Like the first thing that typically happens when some copywriting guru releases a template or a blueprint or something like that is everybody copies it and it stops working because everybody's doing it. And the one thing that doesn't sell is the same. If a person sees something and can put it into a bucket, they just shuffle that bucket away. So I would say that it is no harder and no easier to get clients in 2024 than at any previous time in history, except maybe the time before the internet. It's way easier to get clients now that there are so many online businesses than before the internet existed. So maybe that's not true. But in recent years, from what I'm seeing of newbies and people getting jobs or not getting jobs, it seems about the same. There's nothing special about this year. How do I be more direct in my handwriting practice? I do not understand this question. There's a tightrope between like playful rapport building, giving me shit versus just insulting me. I have 120 connects in Upwork. What are the odds to land a client? Actually, my copy got kind of good. Well, if your copy is good, your odds are high. But I would recommend. I wish Rod were on stream with me. If you're in the Discord, like tag him and reach out with this particular question. But the odds are pretty good, especially if you just do a few simple things. Like I've seen him talk about these things before. Like don't apply to a job that already has like 500 people that sent proposals to it. Like they're never going to read them. So if you're not first, you're last, as they say. Another thing is really only apply to jobs and positions where you feel like you can deliver really, really good work. Like if you see that a business owner is advertising for like, I don't know, they want to sell oscilloscopes. They want oscilloscope copy, and they're looking for somebody who with like a little bit of a technical as well as a writing background, and you have no technical background. Don't waste your time like trying to say, I'll just fake it until I make it. Like maybe be a little judicious early on in your career and then like go like shoot for the moon later on. So those two things should work. I don't get it. All good. So any other questions? I've officially passed my 5 minutes, so I'm going to go get ready and I'm going to go to a concert. And I hope you all have a lovely evening. I hope this was helpful. Always uncertain about these things, but take care and I will see you soon. Goodbye.